Hello Midnights. We hope you enjoy our stories. Next one, The World's Hidden Horrors, Unveiling Folklore's Most Chilling Unsung Monsters. Let us know where you are listening from and don't forget to subscribe. While popular figures like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster dominate cryptozoological discussions, the world is rich with lesser-known, equally unsettling myths and creatures that lurk in the shadows of local folklore. These tales, often passed down through generations, offer a profound glimpse into the fears, cultural anxieties, and even moral lessons of various communities. From spectral entities that steal breath to monstrous beasts that stalk remote wildernesses, these less publicized myths are a treasure trove of eerie narratives waiting to be unearthed, each serving as a unique cultural artifact reflecting humanity's ancient struggle to comprehend the unknown. They are not merely stories, they are cultural touchstones, encapsulating the collective anxieties, historical traumas, and unique environmental pressures that have shaped communities for centuries. What truly makes them creepy, however, lies in their ability to tap into primal, universal fears, often by distorting familiar concepts, invading safe spaces, or presenting an inescapable moral dilemma, making the mundane terrifying and the unknown profoundly unsettling. One such chilling myth originates from the indigenous folklore of the Philippines, the Manananggal. This is not merely a vampire, it is a creature of grotesque transformation and chilling intent, deeply embedded in Tagalog, Visayan, and Bicolano mythologies, particularly prevalent in the western Visayas region, especially Capiz and Iloilo. Unlike the more common vampire, which typically drains blood from the neck, the Manananggal is a truly terrifying creature, almost exclusively female, that possesses the horrific ability to sever its upper torso from its lower body at night. This graphic and unnatural separation occurs with a squelching, tearing sound, often accompanied by the sickening crack of bone and sinew, as if a body is being violently ripped apart from within, a process said to take place in a hidden, secluded lair. Its lower half, typically from the waist down, is left standing rooted to the ground, usually in a secluded spot like a dense banana grove, a thicket of bamboo, or within the dark confines of an abandoned nipa hut, swaying slightly as if still alive. Its outward appearance in its daytime, human form is usually that of a beautiful and unassuming woman, often appearing shy, reserved, or even melancholic, making her seem harmless and allowing her to blend seamlessly into the community, often choosing professions that allow for solitude, such as a vendor or a midwife. This duality makes her terrifying, as anyone could unknowingly harbor a Manananggal. However, at night, after the horrifying dismemberment, its upper half undergoes a more monstrous transformation. Its skin darkens, becoming leathery and often mottled, almost reptilian in texture. Its eyes glow with a malevolent, reddish light, reflecting its predatory nature, sometimes described as burning coals. Its mouth may twist into a permanent, unnerving rictus or stretch wide to reveal a long, incredibly thin proboscis-like tongue, sometimes described as being as fine as a strand of hair, capable of extending immense distances, reportedly even several meters, to reach its sleeping victims. Its enormous, leathery bat-like wings, sometimes described as membranous and veined, resembling a massive, ancient fruit bat with a span of several feet, allow it to take flight with an eerie, rustling sound, like dry leaves scuttling across pavement or the whisper of silk in the wind, soaring silently through the moonlit skies. Its primary target, pregnant women and, less commonly, newlywed couples, as their unborn children or firstborn are seen as particularly potent sustenance. Driven by an insatiable hunger for the essence of life, often described as a craving for blood and the vital organs of fetuses, it is said to extend its proboscis into the belly of its sleeping victim to suckle the fetuses from within their mothers. The horrific act leaves the victims drained and lifeless, sometimes with a telltale, almost imperceptible puncture mark on the abdomen or neck, though other accounts speak of victims simply wasting away from an inexplicable illness, their bellies shrinking. The lower torso, left standing on the ground, remains incredibly vulnerable, often pulsating faintly, emitting a foul, sulfuric odor, and sometimes even dripping blood or viscera. Locals know that discovering this disembodied lower half, often hidden in dense foliage or underbrush, is the key to destroying the creature. By dousing it with salt, crushed garlic, holy water, or sacred oils, often coconut oil blessed by a shaman, before the upper half can reattach by dawn, one can permanently kill the Manananggal, causing it to sizzle, smoke, and disintegrate into foul-smelling ash, often leaving behind only a dark stain. The creature is said to emit a faint, high-pitched tick-tick or kick-kick sound as it flies, a sound that oddly gets softer as it approaches, further disorienting its prey and masking its true proximity. This deceptive auditory clue adds to the creature's cunning. What makes the Manananggal truly creepy is its visceral body horror. The unthinkable, repulsive act of self-dismemberment, violating the very integrity of the human form, combined with its insidious violation of the most sacred and vulnerable bond, that between a mother and her unborn child. It twists the concept of motherhood into something monstrous, invading the sanctity of the womb and feeding on innocence, turning the very act of bringing life into the world into a source of profound dread. Its specific targeting of pregnant women highlights deep-seated societal anxieties around reproductive vulnerability, the dangers of childbirth in a time before modern medicine, and the unseen malevolent forces that might prey on new life in the cover of night. Its legend serves as a potent cautionary tale, often whispered among expectant mothers, adding a layer of supernatural dread to the natural anxieties of pregnancy and the precariousness of life in remote, superstitious areas. Moving across the globe to the icy expanses of Siberia, we encounter the Chupacabra of the Altai Mountains, a localized and distinctly more formidable variant of the more widely known Latin American cryptid. While the original Chupacabra gained notoriety for mysteriously draining the blood of livestock, leaving behind 2 small puncture marks, the Altai version is described as a significantly more formidable, larger, and even more elusive predator, a true terror of the taiga. Eyewitness accounts and local legends paint a chilling picture of a powerful, dog-like creature, sometimes likened to a large wolf or a wild dog, but with unnatural features that defy zoological classification, suggesting something evolved solely for predation. Its outward appearance is consistently described as a hybrid of terrifying attributes, blurring the lines between canine, reptile, and something alien. It stands roughly the size of a large German shepherd or even a small bear, powerfully built with a lean, sinewy, muscular frame that belies its speed. Its fur is typically dark, ranging from deep brown to black, often appearing matted, bristly, or even strangely scaled in places, allowing it to blend seamlessly with the shadows of the ancient Siberian forests, making it almost invisible until it's too late. Its most striking features are its eyes, large, unblinking orbs that glow with an intense, malevolent red light, often described as embers in the dark or twin burning coals, reflecting light from deep within the forest with an almost hypnotic intensity that can freeze a witness in their tracks. Along its spine, from neck to tail, runs a menacing crest of razor-sharp spikes or quills, often described as bone-like, chitinous, or even crystalline, that ripple with its movement, capable of inflicting severe wounds if touched, adding to its predatory silhouette and making it appear utterly alien to the region. Some accounts also mention unusually long, sharp claws and rows of needle-like teeth in a perpetually snarling muzzle. Unlike its southern counterpart, the Altai Chupacabra is not merely a blood drinker. It is said to be capable of inflicting horrific and extensive injuries on animals, often mutilating them in bizarre and gruesome ways that defy explanation, organs removed with surgical precision, bones crushed to powder, or bodies left in unusual, ritualistic positions. There are even whispers, though rarely openly spoken, of its direct attacks on humans, leaving behind deep, inexplicable wounds or vanishing completely before a clear sighting can be made, leaving behind only the chilling sensation of having been watched and the metallic tang of fear in the air. Its existence is deeply intertwined with the region's vast, untamed wilderness, a land of ancient forests, towering peaks, and unexplored valleys, where extreme weather and isolation create a breeding ground for fear and the imagination runs wild, and the primal fears associated with unseen dangers lurking in the dense taiga and remote mountain passes. Local accounts frequently speak of inexplicable attacks on livestock, particularly sheep and goats, found disemboweled or with strange, crushing wounds, often with no clear entry or exit points for the attacker, as if the life force itself was torn out. Mysterious and unidentifiable tracks, larger and more irregular than any known animal, sometimes with oddly splayed toes or claw marks, are sometimes found in the snow or mud after an incident, baffling even experienced trackers. The unsettling silence that sometimes precedes its presence, a sudden hush in the forest where even the wind seems to hold its breath and the birds cease their songs, adds to the dread, fueling the belief in this terrifying beast that stalks the remote, desolate landscapes of Siberia, a testament to the raw, untamed power of nature and the psychological impact of extreme isolation. The Altai Chupacabra's creepiness stems from its elusive, unclassifiable nature and its capacity for extreme, unexplained violence. It defies categorization, making it impossible to predict, understand, or defend against, embodying the ultimate unknown predator that operates outside the natural order. Its horrific mutilations of animals, often without consuming them, suggest a malevolence beyond mere hunger, hinting at a cruel, senseless destruction that mocks human attempts to control or comprehend the wild. This lack of clear motivation adds to its unsettling quality, as it acts not out of need, but seemingly out of sheer, unfathomable malice, making it a pure force of terror from the depths of the wilderness. In the dense, emerald forests of Brazil, particularly within the mystical depths of the Amazon basin, whispers tell of the Curupira. This enigmatic and powerful mythological protector of the forests is often depicted as a dwarfish creature, small yet surprisingly agile, with vibrant, fiery red hair that stands out against the lush green and often glows faintly in the dim light of the jungle canopy, almost like a torch or a beacon of warning. Its outward appearance is most distinctly characterized by its diminutive, childlike stature, typically no taller than a young boy, but possessing an unnerving, almost unnatural strength and agility that allows it to leap through the undergrowth with surprising speed. Its skin is often described as leathery or deeply tanned, almost greenish, blending seamlessly with the tree bark and leaves, and its body is lean and exceptionally muscular, honed by its constant movement through the dense jungle. Its most famous feature, however, are its feet, which are turned completely backward, with the heels facing forward and the toes pointing to the rear, a grotesque inversion of human anatomy that immediately signals its otherworldly nature. This peculiar anatomical feature is not merely a visual quirk but its primary defense mechanism and a brilliant tool for deception. By walking with its feet facing the wrong way, it leaves misleading tracks, ingeniously confusing hunters, loggers, and anyone else who seeks to harm the forest or its creatures. These misdirected tracks can lead intruders deeper and deeper into the bewildering labyrinth of the jungle, utterly disorienting them, often in circles, creating a sense of inescapable doom. While often revered as a benevolent guardian by indigenous communities and those who respect nature, providing guidance or warning against danger, sometimes leaving specific marks on trees or causing animals to appear as warnings, or even leading lost children back to safety if they respect the forest, the Curupira can be fiercely mischievous and even vengeful towards those who exploit or disrespect its domain, especially those who hunt excessively, damage trees without purpose, or pollute the rivers. It is known to lure trespassers through a series of disorienting whistles, some melodious and inviting, others shrill and piercing with a hint of madness, haunting calls that mimic distant animal cries or even human voices, cries for help, or sounds of celebration, and sudden, inexplicable sounds, mimicking animal calls or the snapping of twigs, always just out of sight, never allowing itself to be fully seen, causing them to become hopelessly lost, often to the point of starvation, madness from delirium, or succumbing to the myriad dangers of the jungle like venomous snakes, jaguars, or impassable terrain. Sometimes, it is said to simply disappear, leaving its victim utterly alone in the overwhelming vastness of the forest, driving them to despair and eventual demise. Its unsettling appearance, combined with the subtle psychological torment it inflicts, makes it a truly eerie figure, embodying humanity's complex and often contradictory relationship with the wild, a guardian that can be both savior and tormentor, reflecting the untamed, unpredictable, and sometimes unforgiving nature of the Amazon itself. It serves as a powerful ecological allegory, warning against the consequences of greed and disrespect for the natural world, a deep-seated fear of ecological retribution that comes not from a distant god, but from the very land itself, alive and vengeful. The Curupira's creepiness lies not in overt physical violence, but in its psychological torment and insidious deception. Its backward feet create a disorienting paradox, turning the familiar act of tracking into a bewildering, inescapable trap, making the very ground beneath one's feet untrustworthy. It plays with its victims' minds, subtly distorting their perception and leading them deeper into a wilderness that becomes both a sanctuary and a prison, highlighting the terrifying vulnerability of humans when confronted by the overwhelming power and cunning of nature that can easily turn familiar paths into fatal labyrinths, driving them to madness through sheer disorientation. Japan, a country renowned for its rich and intricate tapestry of folklore, ranging from benevolent kami to malevolent yokai, offers a myriad of lesser-known yet equally unsettling spirits and urban legends that often blur the lines between ancient myth and modern fear. Among them is the chilling Aka Manto, or Red Cape, a relatively modern urban legend that gained prominence in the 20th century, particularly in schools. This pervasive urban legend typically manifests in public restrooms, particularly in schools and older public buildings, where vulnerability is heightened and a sense of isolation can be felt, especially late at night or when alone. Its outward appearance is rarely fully described, which is part of its insidious terror, leaving much to the imagination and amplifying the fear of the unknown. Most accounts focus on its voice or its signature red garment. When glimpsed, it is often described as a shadowy figure, tall and gaunt, clad in a flowing, blood-red cape or cloak that billows unnaturally as if moved by an unseen wind, even indoors. Some versions describe it as having a pale, almost mask-like face, or an entirely blank visage, devoid of features, intensifying its inhumanity and cold detachment. Other tales say it is a handsome young man with a pale complexion and a red cape, making it appear deceptively alluring before revealing its true, malevolent nature, adding a layer of betrayal to its horror. Still other versions claim it has sharp, claw-like hands hidden beneath its sleeves. It asks a terrifyingly simple yet inescapable question: do you prefer red paper or blue paper? The choices, seemingly innocuous and innocent like a child's game, invariably lead to a gruesome and unavoidable demise, leaving the victim no true escape. Choosing red paper results in a bloody death, often described as flaying, decapitation, or being torn apart until one is soaked in their own blood, a visceral and horrifying end. Conversely, choosing blue paper leads to a slower, more agonizing end, such as suffocation, being strangled, or having all one's blood drained from the body, leaving the victim a pallid, lifeless corpse. Attempting to choose another color, ignore the voice, or try to escape is equally fatal, as the Aka Manto ensures its victim has no escape, often dragging them into the toilet, vanishing them into thin air, or causing them to simply collapse and die from an unseen force. The legend often includes specific instructions for survival, like choosing no paper, or saying yellow paper, but even these supposed loopholes often lead to unexpected, horrific outcomes, demonstrating the entity's twisted sense of humor and absolute control. This legend taps into primal fears of vulnerability, the unpredictable nature of the unseen, and the terrifying prospect of a mundane, private act like using a public restroom transforming into a horrifying ordeal. It reflects societal anxieties about hidden dangers in seemingly safe public spaces, particularly those frequented by children and young adults, and the chilling power of an inescapable, no-win scenario. The Aka Manto's creepiness is rooted in its invasion of a deeply private, vulnerable space, the restroom, a place where one naturally lets down their guard, and the inescapable, sadistic nature of its choice. It turns a mundane decision into a life-or-death gamble with no good outcome, forcing the victim into a terrifying dilemma where any choice leads to suffering. The lack of a consistently visible, tangible form also amplifies the terror, as the threat is an unseen, omnipresent voice that knows no mercy, making the fear entirely psychological and inescapable, playing on the anxieties of random, meaningless violence. Finally, in the quiet, desolate landscapes of rural Ireland, steeped in a history of hardship, resilience, and deep spiritual connection to the land, one might encounter the fear Gorta, or man of hunger. This lesser-known spectral entity is a poignant phantom of starvation, said to wander desolate roads, barren fields, and remote areas, particularly during times of scarcity, such as the infamous Great Famine of the 19th century, though its roots predate this event, likely stretching back to earlier periods of hardship and agrarian struggle when hunger was a constant threat. Its outward appearance is profoundly unsettling, embodying utter emaciation and the profound suffering of starvation. It appears as an almost translucent figure, skeletal and gaunt, its skin stretched out over visible bones, as if a living skeleton barely draped in flesh. Its eyes are often described as hollow or sunken, holding a deep, ancient sorrow that speaks of centuries of suffering and loss, a silent testament to untold tragedies. Its hair might be lank and dirty, clinging to its skull in greasy strands, and its tattered clothes offer no comfort, seeming to hang loosely on its wasted frame, fluttering faintly in the wind as if made of cobwebs. Its body is so thin that the wind seems to pass right through it, and its voice is a faint, reedy whisper, barely audible above the rustling of the wind or the distant bleating of sheep, as if speaking from beyond the grave, almost like a sigh of perpetual want that can send shivers down one's spine. The fear Gorta is not inherently malicious or vengeful in the typical sense. Instead, it is a desperate spirit seeking charity and compassion, a living embodiment of the immense suffering caused by hunger, a stark reminder of historical trauma. It may appear as a seemingly ordinary beggar, its true nature only revealed upon closer inspection of its skeletal frame and hollow eyes, or by its uncanny stillness and otherworldly pallor. Those who refuse to offer food or assistance to the apparition, especially to those truly in need who cross their path, are said to suffer misfortunes, a blight upon their crops that withers them in the field, a sudden illness that drains their strength, inexplicable livestock deaths, or a period of inexplicable bad luck and hardship that mirrors the very suffering they ignored. Conversely, those who show compassion and offer what little they have to the apparition, sharing their meager provisions, are blessed with good fortune, abundance, and prosperity, their generosity returned tenfold, perhaps in a bountiful harvest, unexpected wealth, or a sudden stroke of good luck that seems divinely appointed. This poignant myth powerfully reflects Ireland's historical struggles with famine and poverty, particularly the devastating Great Famine that decimated the population and left an indelible scar on the national psyche, embedding a collective memory of hunger and vulnerability. It serves as a chilling, yet ultimately moralizing, reminder of the devastating impact of hunger, the fragility of life, and the enduring importance of charity, empathy, and community support in times of hardship. It underscores the profound cultural value placed on generosity, shared resources, and the understanding that helping others in need is not just an act of kindness, but a spiritual imperative for communal survival and well-being. The fear Gorta's creepiness is subtle and insidious, stemming from its embodiment of existential dread and the profound moral quandary it presents. It's creepy not because it directly harms with physical violence, but because it confronts you with profound human suffering and forces a moral choice, where a lack of empathy can lead to supernatural misfortune that feels like a just punishment, a karmic retribution. It preys on the guilt of privilege and the chilling reminder that even in abundance, the specter of past or potential famine can haunt the landscape, turning empathy into a matter of spiritual and physical self-preservation, a haunting reminder that even the living are never truly safe from the echoes of historical suffering. These international, less-known creepy myths offer a fascinating, often unsettling, window into diverse cultures and their deepest fears. They are not merely entertaining stories, they are cultural reflections, historical documents, and psychological insights. From the body-dismembering Manananggal, embodying fears of female malevolence and reproductive vulnerability, to the deceptive Curupira, warning against ecological disrespect, the vengeful Aka Manto, tapping into anxieties about public safety and unavoidable horror, and the somber fear Gorta, a spectral plea for compassion in the face of destitution. These tales remind us that the human imagination, in its quest to explain the unexplainable, cope with the anxieties of existence, and transmit cultural values, has crafted a truly vast and terrifying pantheon of creatures and spirits that linger in the shadows of our collective consciousness. Exploring these lesser-known narratives not only provides a thrilling glimpse into the macabre but also deepens our understanding of the universal human experience of fear, the diverse ways cultures process trauma and uncertainty, and the enduring, powerful legacy of storytelling across generations, binding us to the past and informing our present.